In regards to the names of God, we need to talk, because I've been doing my research and I've already shared my testimony about how God removed his power away from a prayer. When the guy was praying, he came out in the name of Jesus Christ, and then he started saying those Y names, that Yeshua and Yahweh in the name and the Yahamalek name and all that stuff, and then literally the power of God like removed from the prayer. It was like it snatched away. I felt it in the spiritual realm. But you don't have to believe me. You don't have to take my revelation for face value. Go back and pray to the Father. But I've been doing my research, and I found out that there were some Jewish mystics and sages that are founded in Judaism. They were trying to duplicate or replicate Ezekiel's vision in Ezekiel chapter 8. Pardon me, my mind went a little blank for a second, but they were trying to replicate Ezekiel's vision where he saw God on his throne. And in trying to do this, they were doing a little meditative practices. They were sitting down together doing it, and that's when they had encounters with the fallen ones. And this is where you get the Metatron's cube, this Kabbalah stuff, the Metatron's cube, that they got the Tetragrammaton. And the name that they give us today, which is Yahweh, was not even Yahweh. It was Yod He Vav He, and I guess throughout transliterations and translations they come up with this name. And us being people, we cannot diminish God's name. And then God made it simple in Acts 4:12 that there's only one name that men should be saved by, which is Jesus. And then they said that Yod He Vav He was supposed to mean God, and it means different things within their writings. They know this in Judaism. They know this, and they're not telling the Christians this, and Christians are blindly calling God this name. In the King James Version, it talks about his name being Jehovah, and then it talks about, us being saved by Jesus. And when people say, well, the J was not invented until the 1500s, the letter J, the alphabet, may not have been invented until that time, but that don't mean that the sound was not used in other cultures. And like, God is not the author of confusion, so why was all those other J names and J places in the Old Testament? If you go in the Old Testament, just about every king name started with a J. Just about every place that they named when they picked some land out started with a J. And even today, if you go to the Middle Eastern countries, most of their countries' names starts with a J. Now, they spell it out in our English letters with a J, but of course, they probably have a different sound in their dialect. So I don't know how we are, misinterpreting that. I don't know why we're so hung up on that part. And then another thing is that, the Bible calls his name Jehovah, but they built altars, and they dedicated altars that were made with man's hands, and that's where you get the Jireh, the Rapha, the Tsidkenu, and the other ones. My mind just went blank again, but that's where you get those names from. And when we use those names as his name, we're not really addressing God. We're addressing altars. And in Exodus chapter 20, verse 1, we're not supposed to make anything or any idol to worship God. We're not supposed to do that. So I believe that through the charismatic movement and some misteachings and some false teachings, we have been deceived, or we could be deceived away from worshiping God in spirit and in truth. And we need to wake up and pay attention to this, because, the devil is going to come on the earth in the form of God, and he's going to use a name. And I believe the name that he's going to use is the name that he's been working to deceive the people by. I love y'all. God bless.